My guy pretty like a girl, and he got 5 stories to tell. I see both sides like Chanel, see on both sides like Chanel.
1 minute of silence for Payton Talbott. Thank you. Is Payton Talbott cooked? If you guys don't know, before UFC Fight Night Atlanta, Usman versus Buckley, the UFC announced that Payton Talbott will be fighting Felipe Lima at UFC 317 International Fight Week. You know, we've been hinted that Payton Talbott is fighting on this card. We just didn't know who the opponent was. And they finally announced it, bro. And I think it's the downfall of Payton Talbott. Felipe Lima is so good, dude. He submitted Muhammad Naimov. He beat Miles John. You know, he only has 2 wins in the UFC, but Ronnie Barcelos just finished beating Cody Garbrandt, right? You know, Payton Talbott got fraud checked by Ronnie Barcelos, and you know, Ronnie Barcelos is having a pretty nice run right now. But is Payton Talbott cooked, bro? Lima's so good on the ground, man. And Lima has a little bit more experience in MMA. He has a couple more fights under his belt than Payton Talbott. You know, we know Payton Talbott's not good on the ground like that, but is Payton Talbott cooked? Is he done? Like, is the UFC done with him? Like, look at the comment section here, folks. Look at the comment section. We got Lima by easy. We got Lima by easy money right here, dude. We got Lima being stripped by being straight. That's another one we're gonna talk about, folks. We got my boy Talbott getting slimed twice, brother. UFC is done with Talbott after booking this. RIP Talbot. Like, it's bad. It's bad. Is the UFC done with Payton Talbot? I think so. I think the UFC saw a lot of potential in Payton Talbott, but then after the fight against Ronnie Barcelos, dude, you know, the UFC's been a little bit weird with the matchmaking, dog shit with the matchmaking, let's be honest. But to match up 2 prospects right now that have a little bit of a name for themselves to fight on this card, they've added up to this card. This card 317 is pretty gas right now. But I did not want to see Payton Talbott's next fight against a hungry prospect who is gonna easily get the sub on the ground, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. Lima's a little bit shorter, but his physicality and strength is way better than Payton Talbott's, dude. Yeah, Payton Talbott, the real Sean O'Malley or whatever. He's not the real Sean O'Malley. It's Malcolm Wellmaker. Let's be honest right now. that guy's something else. But the real Sean O'Malley, man, he's been hanging around with Frank Ocean too much, and I don't know if the UFC don't like that, but come on, bro. Look at John Jones. But yeah, I think Payton Talbott's cooked, brother. I think Payton Talbott's cooked. This is gonna be a hard fight right here. This is gonna be a fun fight, let's be honest. It's gonna be a nice fight, but if Payton Talbott cannot succeed on the feet, cannot find the knockout against Felipe Lima, he is going to get demolished on the ground. I think Felipe Lima is just levels above Payton Talbott when it comes to the ground game, dude. Like, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, man, and he just finished losing to Ronnie Barcelos, who, you know, Payton Talbott struggled with this guy on the ground, dude. And Felipe Lima, you know, against Miles John, you know, Miles John is not really like super good like that, but Muhammad Naimov, dude, your UFC debut against Muhammad Naimov and you submit him, you know, and Muhammad Naimov is not all that, you know, he's 30 years old, he's in his prime right now. But dude, that's a good win. That's a good win for you, your UFC debut. And now they're giving you Payton Talbott. I think they're just trying to build up Felipe Lima no more. But if Talbott wins, if Talbott beats Felipe Lima, he's back. He's back. We're all gonna say, oh, he's back, dude. He beat Felipe Lima, depending on how he beats him, obviously. Because if he wins by robbery, dude, come on. But a lot of people, man, have been saying, I've been seeing the comments, have been saying, you know, Payton Talbott's cooked, brother. This guy Felipe Lima's no joke. You know, I think he's a little bit more hungrier than Payton Talbott, man. You know, Payton Talbott's had, you know, the Frank Ocean meat. Once you got the Frank Ocean meat, dog, I don't know if they're together right now, but you know, that Frank Ocean meat has Payton Talbott thinking different, bro. They, you know, like let's be honest right now. Frank Ocean has not left his crib in years. And we saw this man at a UFC event because his lover or whatever was fighting on the card, brother. This man hasn't made music in years. And he comes out the crib to support Payton Talbott. And it sucks, bro. I really love Payton Talbott, bro. Like, one of my first videos on Payton Talbott, bro, 4K views. That was my first video on, like, one of my first videos on YouTube was Payton Talbott. So I'm a huge Payton Talbott fan. And this man got fraud checked by Ronnie Barcelos, and I'm here thinking, all right, you know, back to the lab. Let's go. Like, it's not over. But then, you know, you see him with Frank Ocean, and you're like, oh no, like, oh no. And I'm just like, oh. And then now they're feeding him a hungry prospect and Felipe Lima. And it's kind of like, damn, brother, Payton Talbott is cooked, son. He's cooked. It sucks, man. I really like Payton Talbott, but I think the downfall begins now. I think he's gonna lose this fight against Felipe Lima, and then if he loses his next fight, he's gonna get cut. I don't think the UFC fucking with Payton Talbott like that. Let's be honest, bro. They not. If they're giving him Felipe Lima, they not. But I don't know what the matchmakers were thinking here. I think they just wanted to build Payton Talbott's name up with a prospect who's doing good. He has only 2 fights in the UFC, so they're probably thinking, oh, you know, it's just 2 fights in the UFC. We're giving Payton Talbott a shot, but I feel like they should have given Payton Talbott another can or an old head that's not really in his prime anymore to build him up a little bit, but to throw him to the dogs, because I think Lima is just a dog out there, dude. He's good in the striking. He's really good grappling, dude. Like, I think Payton Talbott's done. I think Payton Talbott's done. And I keep reading these comments, dude, and a lot of people are saying Payton Talbott's just completely cooked, dude. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I think Payton Talbott's done, man. I don't think he's gonna win this one against Felipe Lima. I hope it's a fun scrap. Hopefully he finds the knockout. But I'm JNAPS MMA. Like and subscribe, and I'm out.